Hi everyone, it's Monty. I'm super excited to be walking you through how to advertise and market your STEM night. This is one of my personal favorite parts of this entire project. Is just really because this is the part like where you'll see that everything starts to come together, and now it's really time to just get to invite all the people to attend this night that you've worked really hard for. So let's just get right into it. The first step is like, how do I get attendees in the first place? So since STEM night is geared towards K through sixth grade students, the trick is to really show off how amazing this night is that you've organized for that audience. So you'll most likely be advertising to parents and families. So you definitely want to create an eye-catching flyer. You can check out this example over here. This is what I made in 2019. And it's basically, I just included the date and the time, where it's at. I allowed them to contact me with my email if they had specific questions. And I actually did receive quite a few, so it's definitely good to include like some form of contact, like some sort of contact. And then you just want to include what they'll be doing at this night. Telling them that they'll be learning about STEM careers, they'll get to do activities and projects and live demos. I included a section for like who's taking part in this and listed off a few of the organizations that were attending. Like I had around 20, so I definitely couldn't add like all 20. I just didn't have the space for it. And then at the time I had sponsors, and I told my sponsors that I would highlight them in the flyers and brochures. So here I included the sponsor information. So this is just a flyer that I created. I'm definitely not one of the very artistic people you'll meet. So this is just what I use. I use like a simple Canva flyer that I found, but definitely if you have if you're an artist yourself, or one of your friends is very talented, you can ask them for help, or you can design it yourself. You have complete freedom in designing a flyer that you think is eye-catching and will help gather the attention of the people in your community. Another thing that's important to create is an event brochure. You can decide to hand this out along with your flyer, like if you're handing out flyers, or you can ask to include this with the flyer. But personally for me, I didn't include my event brochure with my flyer. It was just the flyer that I sent out to the community, but the event brochure was something that I needed for the day of at the STEM night. So an example of what I mean is, this is what I had at the STEM night. So when people were signing in and they were getting checked in, the volunteers gave them this brochure so that they understood what organizations were at the STEM night and what they were doing. So what I did was I basically, welcome to the second annual STEM night. And then I said what the name of the organization was, and I included a short excerpt about what each group was doing. So I asked each organization to send me a description of what they wanted to be here. So you can ask your organizations like, hey, for example, like if you're working with Challenge Island, you can be like, hey, I'm working on this brochure. What should I write for your description that you'll be what will students be doing at your booth? So then they said you can just write that they'll be making their own tree frogs. So this is what I used for the description, and I did that for I did this for all 20 organizations. And at the bottom, I just said, thank you to our wonderful sponsors. So yeah, it was a pretty simple brochure because I'm honestly not the most artistic person, but you can definitely design the brochure for however you see fit and however you want it to be. So it's really up to you on whether you want to include the brochure when you're sending out flyers. Like you can also say like, here's the flyer, and you can say, here's the event brochure. Either way works. It's really up to what you want to do and what you think works best. So yeah, these are just a couple of reminders. In your brochure, you definitely want to include who is attending and what they'll be doing, which you can see over here, I did. And then in your flyer, include who is attending, why people should sign up, and who the target audience is, like K through 6th grade students, and include a time and location. And for me, I didn't have a link where people could register, people just showed up. But if you want to create like a link so that you know how many people to expect, you can definitely include a link to registration if that applies to you. Again, you have a lot of freedom in deciding how you want your STEM night to look like, and if you want to have registration before, or if you just want to do it at the event itself. So some ideas for like where you can get attendees, or like, how can I really publicize this event in the community, is word of mouth, reaching out to other local elementary schools in the district, reaching out to libraries and various community organizations. I actually reached out to 20 elementary schools from 3 school districts, and I essentially used this template that I reached out to each of the schools, and I was like, hello, my name is, introducing yourself, saying who you are, what you're trying to do, the purpose of this event, and including like the details of the event itself. And I made sure to sort of explain, like, I'm not just creating like this event out of thin air. Like, I've genuinely done a lot of work with it. Like, I've been inviting all these organizations, and I'm expecting this number of students to attend, and these are all the organizations coming. And I also really wanted to highlight, like, this is a great opportunity for students to come learn about STEM. So just making sure that you sort of like pitch your event, and you sort of pitch yourself as someone that's reliable and who really knows what they're doing will really go a long way. And it'll help you appear very professional and more likely to get a response from the person reading your email. So it really is just pitching your event and making it something that, because it is something that people would love to attend, and it's something that families would really enjoy. So it's just a matter of conveying that to the person reading your email. So you can explain what you want the person to do, which is send out a flyer to their students and parents, put it on the announcements. If it's an organization, you can be like, send out an email to your subscribers, or etc. You can figure out like what you want them to do essentially. And then another thing that I think really helped was I even told them what I want them to include in their email. So like, a lot of people are very busy. Like, if you're emailing principals, they are very, very busy. So it's important to make sure that you give them information that they can easily do. So by providing them like a sample email for what they can send out, is they just copy and pasted this email, and then they sent it out to the entire school, which honestly helped me when I was trying to get over like almost 800 attendees who came. So that'll definitely go a long way. And then of course, just saying like, thank you so much. And then in general, I think that you guys have definitely learned this skill by now, is following up with the person that you send your email to. Like, if you don't get a response within 5 days, it's always a good idea to send them a quick follow-up email and be like, hey, I was wondering if you got a chance to read this. So just by doing so, you'll definitely improve your chances of them opening it and making sure that they get to it. Because like I said before, principals and just people in general are very busy. So just like some tips for reaching out to your community, I would say start advertising 3 weeks before. This is just what I've done in the past. I think it honestly depends on you as a person. So why I would say not to do it like too early is because if it's like, too early, people might not like they'll just forget about it. Like if you start advertising and then they're like, "Oh, there's this event." But then they might just forget about it. But then again, I know some people who start advertising very early and they continuously remind families and parents, which works as well. But I think it really just depends on you and what you think works better. When you are advertising, like regardless of when you decide to start advertising, it's important to like keep advertising until the day of. Um, Asking like all these organizations and schools to send out reminders the day of and the day before is super duper important because people, like the attendees in general, can sometimes forget that, oh yeah, I signed up for this event and it's happening today. So by reminding them, especially like the day of and before, is very important so that it doesn't slip their mind. But yeah, just in terms of like if you're still a little bit confused on like when you're supposed to start advertising, I would say like a month before or 3 weeks before is usually like a good balance between like I didn't start too late and I didn't start like too early. Like I know that like if there's like an event in like December 2020 and you're advertising like at the beginning of the year, like 12 months apart, like that's very far. Obviously that's like an extreme example, but just in general, make sure it's not like too far in advance or too far later on. So one of the other biggest tips I can give you is make sure that you call the school if they aren't getting back to your email. Or in general, like it's always a great idea to call them even if they did get your email and just make sure that like, oh yes, that you're supposed to send out this email and like, do this and this. Just by calling them, you'll really be able to make sure that it got sent out and make sure that like they understand that you really know what you're doing and you're able to successfully contact these different places, and it'll honestly improve your chances of them responding in the first place as well. Like if they just didn't get back to you, then definitely if you call them, then hopefully they'll get back to you through that way. So that is pretty much it. Good luck. I know that you guys are like seriously killing it out here. And I'm so excited to see your STEM night come to life. And I definitely think you're gonna have great success with getting people to attend with it. And as always, like if you do need additional guidance, because this process is pretty hard, like, organizing this STEM night takes a lot of perseverance and your personal leadership abilities, which is like amazing, and it does take a lot. So if you do need like additional help and guidance, you can always reach out to your mentor. You can always reach out to me as well. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. And also, if you do need more resources, we are more than happy to help make those for you. So hope you all have a great rest of your day and all the best.